guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Asada. I like to vlog my life as a mom, our travels, and just any experiences that we may have. For today's video, I want to focus on Disney World annual passes, specifically if it's worth it if you live out of state. I'm going to be talking about cost, perks, and just the overall experience. If that's something that you're interested in, please keep watching. So for a bit of background, I did not grow up going to Disney. My first trip was when I was a senior in high school back in 2015. And from then we took one trip about every other year. Since my first trip, I've added on 2 kids and a husband to my Disney obsession. And after taking a couple of trips as a family, we finally decided to get annual passes. If you kept up with Disney news during COVID, then you know that they paused sales on all annual passes. So when they went back on sale in April of 2023, we jumped and got them. And we planned on taking our first trip as pass holders a couple of months later because I was giving birth a couple of days after we bought those passes. But life happened and we ended up not being able to go on a trip as planned. And then around November, we decided, hey, let's just take our first trip in January and do a year of Disney. So for these next few parts, don't mind me looking down. I have my notes so I don't forget anything. But there are 4 tiers of Disney annual passes and only one is available to people that live out of state, and that is the Incredi-Pass. It is the highest tier and the most expensive pass. It costs around $16.50 for one adult after tax, and there are no payment plans if you live out of state. The best part about the Incredi-Pass being the highest tier is that there are no blackout dates. You can go whenever you want. You can go Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, as long as you have a reservation made. With the Incredi-Pass, you get 5 days that you can make reservations, and if you stay on property, you also get the benefit of having those days that you can make reservations on. Disney also has good to go days where you don't need a reservation and you can just show up to the park and go. With the pass, you get free parking, so you don't have to pay $30 per day to park. You get dining and merchandise discounts, and you also get the park hopper benefit for no added cost. Additional cost add-ons that you can get are the Disney Photo Pass and the Water Parks and Sports option. The Photo Pass allows you to download all photos that cast members take of you and ride photos that you may have. The Water Park and Sports option gives you entry to both Disney water parks, ESPN Wide World of Sports, the golf courses, and mini golf. Both of those options are $99 each. The way that we did our passes was that I was the only one that put Photo Pass on mine because you can connect multiple people to one account, so only one person in your group even needs Photo Pass. And we all did the water park and sports option. We went to the water park a couple of times and we did mini golf once, but we didn't do the golf courses or the ESPN Wide World of Sports. Water park tickets range from $64 to $74 for adults per day. So if you decide to go to the water parks more than once, then it's worth it to add it on. It's a different vibe than the parks, but you still get that Disney feeling, but it's just different. I can't really explain it that well. So how many trips per year do you have to take to make it worth it? Most people say you have to go around 10 to 11 days to break even. To do my own math, I chose some dates in May, picked a 4-day ticket, no park hopper because that's what I would have done without a pass, 1 park each day. The total was $663 for one adult. So based on my rough calculations, it would take around 2.5 trips to make it worth it. That doesn't even factor in all of the discounts or the fact that you would be able to park hop. A lot of people think that staying on site is automatically more expensive just because it's Disney. To me, it really only depends if you need more than 1 room or if you need a kitchen. If you don't need either of those things, then a Disney Value Resort is your best option. Disney regularly does annual pass holder promos for up to 35% off room discounts. We stay at the All-Star Resorts every trip. A lot of people hate on All-Stars and would say choose Pop or Art of Animation, but for us, it's the difference between a 5-day trip and a 6-day trip, and we would rather have an extra day, especially when the rooms are the exact same. The only difference is the Skyliner, which we've never even utilized. We either drive to the parks or take the bus, which we like. The most we spent for a night at All-Star last year was around $180 for the Christmas season, but usually it averaged around $120 a night. There were even some days where we paid around $90. When you stay off-site, most if not all of the hotels have daily parking fees, and when you drive, that really adds up. We don't like to cook on vacation, so food is something that we factor into the budget. Funny enough, when we're at Disney, we never really get hungry. We just get thirsty a lot, but we do a Walmart trip the first night to get snacks and drinks for the room. We usually do one specialty meal each trip, like a character meal or a sit-down dinner. Those are usually around 10% off. Merchandise discounts are normally around 20% off, and sometimes Disney does surprise discounts for annual pass holders. Last year, they did an extra 20% off at DisneyStore.com, and also they did 20% off at the Character Warehouse, which is a discount store that sells Disney merchandise. Every year, Disney does VI Pass Holder Days, which is when you can get those extra discounts, an exclusive lounge, snacks, and more. I can only speak about our experience last year. We were there on the first day that the lounge was in Epcot, and we used it for around 20 minutes. I think the snacks were nuts and chips, and we got to meet the genie. I do wish that the meet and greet would have been a different character, because I don't feel like the genie is exclusive enough for him to have been there, because I normally see him at Magic Kingdom whenever we go there. One perk that we didn't get to use last year was pass holder previews for Tiana's Bayou. Every time Disney opens a new ride, they set aside days before opening for certain groups to ride the ride before everyone else, and pass holders are one of those groups that gets to be a part of that. There is some merchandise that is only available to pass holders, and it'll have like pass holder on the front of it. I got a glass that's sitting in my china cabinet that I got my name etched on, and it says Disney pass holder. I've also seen like shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and pins, and there's plenty of other stuff that I'm sure is out there. Now let's talk magnets. Every pass holder gets this magnet mailed to them, and throughout the year they have other magnets that they release, and you have to be in the park to pick those up. They don't mail them out, and that's one of the things that I don't really like, but it's Disney and you have to follow the rules. Pass holders get discounts on after hours and party tickets. We haven't done after hours yet, but we have done the Halloween and Christmas parties. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party is our favorite out of the two. I like that we get to wear costumes and trick or treat. The Christmas party was forgettable in my experience. Speaking of Christmas, Disney sent out these recipe cards last year, and the year before that, they sent out wrapping paper. Now, here are some drawbacks to consider. Number one is the upfront cost. If you are a family, then the annual pass will probably be your biggest expense, especially since you have to pay all of that money upfront. I will say that us buying our passes almost a year in advance ended up being a blessing. You have up to a year to activate your pass. If we were to do it again, we would look at it as two separate purchases. The annual pass is one and everything else as the other. When you put the initial cost out of your mind, you only have to focus on getting there, having a place to stay, and having food to eat. We live 8.5 hours away from Disney World, so driving for us is a no-brainer. If you are not within a reasonable driving distance, it may be harder, especially if you have a big family. I know that plane tickets can get pretty expensive. For hotels, like I said, Disney does a lot of discounts, but don't sleep on Priceline or Expedia. We have booked All-Star Sports at $80 a night, less than 24 hours before we left for Disney using Priceline Express deals. To lower food costs, you don't have to eat at the parks. You can take your own food in if you want. It's allowed. Another money-saving tip is buying discounted gift cards. I can only speak for what I do, but Sam's has discount gift cards, and if you have a Target Circle card, either the debit or the credit card, they always do 5% off of purchases, and it works on gift cards, so I purchase those sometimes. I also utilize receipt scanning apps and survey sites. They don't have Disney gift cards, but I do redeem them for Walmart, Amazon, and PayPal, which I use to buy things that we might need on our trip. How many days can you actually go? I'm a stay-at-home mom. Our kids aren't in school yet, and my husband works a 14-14 schedule, so we pretty much have half of the year to travel. I know that is not feasible for the majority of people, so you have to think about how many days can you actually get off of work. Are your kids in school? Can you travel during their breaks? Are you fine with taking them out of school? Disney doesn't announce a lot of the perks way ahead of time. So if you want that new magnet, then you have to be ready to book at a moment's notice. Do you really like Disney? I'm a Disney adult. I would be there right now if I could, but the biggest drawback of having an annual pass is that feeling of always feeling like you have to be there. There were other trips that we thought about doing last year, But after considering having to purchase experiences and attractions, it always made more sense to choose Disney because that park admission was already paid for. That's why we decided we would only do passes once every 4 years. It allows us to have the freedom of experiencing other places without feeling like we wasted money on passes that we weren't using to their full potential. In my experience, it was well worth it for us. We ended up doing 5 trips in total last year. We went to every single Epcot festival, bought so much merch, and most importantly, we made a year full of memories that we won't forget. Comment down below with your favorite Disney memory or any questions if you have them, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.